So in this photo, you see bed after bed of survivors lined up in what is essentially a makeshift hospital. And one thing that you notice is that the staff of the hospital are enormously outnumbered by the number of people there. There's barely enough space for all of the beds, and you can tell that it's nearly impossible to get one-on-one care. And this is not the fault of the staff. It's not the fault of a hospital that failed to provide. It's simply due to the massive influx of people that needed medical treatment. Very few people came out of Bergen-Belsen after the liberation with not a scratch. And everyone had been starved. Many of them were suffering from diseases. And the sad truth was that they vastly outnumbered the people who were able to care for them. And once again, I think we would all really like to think that when this camp was liberated, when the worst atrocities were over, that everything went back to normal, and it didn't, and it couldn't. And this photo just shows that despite having been through the worst thing anyone can imagine, many might argue, these people still couldn't be afforded one-on-one care. And after liberation, 13,000 people died who were alive when liberation happened. They died because they simply could not continue living with the injuries that they had. And it's not the fault of any of the rescuers, but it is a reminder of how deep the Nazi persecution goes and how deep the horrors of the Holocaust continue to permeate, or permeated even years after. I find it particularly important to talk about the responsibility of other countries and the aftermath of all of these things that happened, because I think it would be irresponsible for me or anyone to identify this as just a German problem or just a Nazi problem. And while obviously it's undeniable that the Nazis were the ones behind this, here at the museum we say never again. Everything that happened from 1938 to 1945 was preventable. Everything that happened, it didn't happen in a second. It wasn't like one day everyone woke up and this man was in power and the Nazi Party had taken over. There was a long, slow, then faster march to this. And there were countless opportunities in which the entire world could have stopped it. And what I always look for when I'm thinking about this, because working in this field is hard, it can really take a toll on you. And what I always look for is the individual acts of resistance, is the people who are brave enough to take photos, to take in Jewish families, to push back against what they knew was wrong. And I can't help but thinking, I can't help but think that if more people had done that, how many more people would still be here today, or how many people would have grandchildren that were alive today? And just the fact that it was so preventable, and the fact that it could happen again, means that it's our responsibility, it's my responsibility as a young person, as someone who will grow up in this political climate, to put a stop to it if it happens again. And to do that, I have to be educated. To do that, I have to know what the warning signs are, and I have to know exactly when I should act to stop them. And I think everyone has a responsibility to do that.